everybody. I'm Cas.
And I'm Arya. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Wayward Sisters, where we talk about Sam's mysteriously disappearing powers. Well, we're all curious as to where they went, honestly. It was like a write-over, from the writers. I'm sorry, guys, for my complete lack of usable English today.
Okay, but Sam's powers being the result of substance abuse. That's what Supernatural loves to do to us.
Yes, interesting topic there.
Especially because I don't really remember it that clearly, but I think, I know Dean obviously tried to, get him to stop, and then Dean died, and then, Ruby kind of took over, which kind of really pisses me off, but it was, a really smart move on her part, being oh, shit, he's, grieving, I can use this to, get him to, do what I want him to do. Obviously, not as...
I mean, she is a demon.
Yeah. She is a demon. Ugh. But,
Yeah, but, it starts even further back. When he had the seasons 1 and 2, he was developing psychic powers.
Yeah, but that was a result.
He kind of has a range of different ones.
Yeah, but that was a result of the demon blood from when he was a baby, too.
Well, yeah, exactly. But, that's, it's what gave him the opening for the whole sending demons to hell with just his mind sort of thing.
Yeah.
In the later seasons.
Kind of opened the door for that one.
Yeah, here's the thing. The first 2 seasons, Dean was really whacked out about Sam having psychic powers.
Uh-huh.
He was they had this prejudice against, people like that, and coming back to that in later seasons, where they're teaming up with witches and magic users, and there was that pair of twins who were, hunters that did magic.
They're in my they're on my bury your gays list, actually. Which is kind of sad.
Ah, yeah. Well, first off, A+ for character development, where they actually got over the whole people being psychic thing. But Sam was, had these powers, had these psychic powers. And Dean was really this is wrong.
Right.
Granted, they were kind of solely focused on other people like him.
Right, and the other people like him were using their abilities for bad. And then there was the one girl who everybody she touched died. By the way, she's on the bury your gays list as well, because she touched her girlfriend and her girlfriend died. Fun fact. The things the Supernatural Wiki will remind you of. It's a long list.
Some deep shit. Yeah. But, it was kind of all connected to Azazel. So, honestly, it would have been okay had the power stopped when Azazel died.
But they didn't.
But they didn't. And so there's this kind of plot hole as to, he still has the powers, but, where do they go? Because of the whole demon blood fueled send demons to hell thing.
Right, and later in season 4 and season 5, when we learned that after Sam has to keep this is not the right phrase, but fueling up, he has to keep dosing, like, more and more and more. So, like, how did his powers stay so strong? First of all, from just the few drops from Azazel that he got as a baby. And then the years between meeting, like, between the end of season 2 and, like, meeting Ruby and starting to do Demon Blood stuff with her. It's like, well, where did they go for that period of time, you know?
Yeah, why did they activate when they activated? I guess that was more so because, well, I think there was an explanation in the show, but I haven't seen the first couple of seasons in a little while. I've seen the first 5 episodes of season 1 several times, but
I think the explanation...
they don't really get started into the...
I think the explanation they used was, like, they're gonna lead Azazel's army for something or other.
Well, yeah, and they had it. Well, here's the thing: there was a whole thing with the abandoned village and them all killing one another because one of them were gonna get out, which was very interesting. That's kind of like a unique thing with the like whole series. You never really get anything quite like that. The kidnapping, forcing them to kill one another. You don't really get that anywhere else in the show, which is true. Interesting.
And I also...
I might actually have to watch it again. Okay.
Yeah, no, literally.
I'm interested now.
Because it's like the one girl had gone missing for months. And it's when Sam found her, he was like, how long have you been here? And she's like, oh, only a few days. He's like, you've been missing for months. And she's like, no, I haven't. And he's like, yes, you have.
But then we find out that she was lying, and she had been there for months, and she was just playing the innocent act so she can kill all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think what's also really unique about that is that was our first death that didn't stick.
Yeah.
Because Sam got stabbed.
And right in front of Dean.
Yeah, Sam gets stabbed right in the back. Which, that whole scene as well is just so heartbreaking. Because, like, Sam's dying in Dean's arms, and Dean's trying to be like, you'll be okay, you're gonna be okay, and he's like, that's my job, right? To look out for my pain in the ass, little brother? And you're like, oh, no. Because,
I might be applying this to the wrong death, but, I remember Jensen talking about, holding Sam and crying, and how he didn't, like, as an actor, he didn't have to think of anyone, like, any other situation. He just had to think of Jared dying, and it gave him all the emotions.
Yeah, no, I think
they were so close.
Yeah, no, I think you're right in saying that. I remember reading it recently. I think it was that first one.
Yeah, and, he was so emotional that he actually ended up having to, like, take a walk and, like, to cool himself down after the take, because it was just so emotionally overwhelming. Which is, well, one, speaks to his talent as an actor, because, like, talent and dedication, because, one, who wants to, like, for their job, have to bring up those thoughts and memories to get a reaction out of yourself.
Right, like...
in order to portray this certain thing.
Like, who wants to have to, like, think about your best friend dying in your arms just so you can, like, manage, like, the tears for this take? But, which also is really sad because of how much their friendship has deteriorated.
I know, that breaks my heart,
because they used to be so close, and they were, like, basically, like, brothers, and now they're, like, not friends anymore. And they, like, kind of just...
about it, because
it's
I remember,
sad.
like, watching the season finale hadn't come out yet, but I was watching the show, and I was watching all the, panels in my free time. I literally remember telling myself, like, all the time, I wish I had a friend that was, like, that close to me, and, was like my sibling, and, I got you now. because that was 2020, and that was 2 years.
That was 2 years ago.
And things have, which is really weird to think about. We've been in this quarantine situation for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I remember watching it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is like the epitome of what I want in a friendship. And now that's deteriorated, I just don't want anything to do with it. I just want to, like, live in my false reality. And
it's so sad because they're still, like, they're acting like they're such, like, good friends at cons and stuff. But we all know we're like, you guys aren't friends like that anymore. Especially after the whole prequel drama and stuff. We're like,
Yeah. I mean, there were mistakes on both sides,
right. But also,
this
is a Jared hate account, so by saying that, I mean,
we're
personally,
supporting
I
Jensen
don't
in this.
Yeah, I don't like. Me no likey.
But back to the topic at hand, because we keep going off on tangents. If you like that, sure, go ahead. But we're gonna actually, do Sam powers. Anyway, Sam's power, like psychic ruby powers, demon blood fueled powers, kind of ends when he's sent to hell with Lucifer.
Oh,
so that's end of season 5.
Yes, and I have a thing about that as well. Is like that he had to drink like a shit ton of demon blood to be able to like hold Lucifer in like as a vessel. And I think maybe this didn't actually happen, and maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But I swear they were like, if he has to drink that much demon blood, he will turn into a demon. I swear I remember that being a thing. And it was like just
maybe it
never
was
addressed.
I think it might have been like a speculation, but there wasn't anything. It was like he was turning more and more into like that ruthless sort of character, like a demon, but I don't think there was any like solid proof that it was going to happen, so they just kind of breezed by it.
Yeah, I think they like brought it up as an absolute like once or twice and then never addressed it again. But whatever.
Yeah, but
welcome to Supernatural. We
Sam
have
never
plot
turned
points.
to a demon.
We have plot points that never
And
get
plot
addressed.
Holes. Which we're gonna go further into in another episode. But on with this particular plot hole, after season 5, there's Soulless Sam and
Samuel.
And Samuel.
Boo.
Yeah. His magical powers don't really show up then, but I think it's actually really in the later seasons where he starts getting into
magic.
Magic, and he has like he kind of has like a special, unique connection to it. Not really like it's not like a unique metaphysical connection, but more like a.
He's just got a knack for it.
He's got a knack for it, and you know who took him under his wing? Rowena.
She's my favorite.
Gosh.
I love her so much.
I love her so much.
I remember the first time I met her, and they're like, "Oh yeah, she's Crowley's mom," and I immediately went, "She's a MILF." Because I love her so dearly, and I love her relationship with Sam. It's very much like, she's very much like a mother figure for him, and it's so sweet.
Yeah, but it's I just get the feeling that the soul psychic powers thing, he actually we go back to the whole him having psychic powers, him being so addicted to demon blood a lot in the later seasons, because it's like a relatable point for him. He knows how to deal with the addiction, how to feeling as if he's tainted or whatever, which brings us to the trials. The whole reason why Sam did the trials and not Dean is because Sam first, killed the Demodog. Not Demodog. That's a different fandom. He killed the Hellhound before Dean, but he continued with the trials because he was talking to Dean and was like, hey, this is like my cleansing.
I think he has
I've done so many horrible things.
Doesn't he? He has there's an exact conversation. I don't remember when it was, but he says something about like, I can't do it because I'm unclean. And it just makes me so sad. It makes me so sad.
I know, that's probably it's actually one of probably my favorite Sam points. Because like in the whole series Dean's usually the one who's like having a whole bunch of internal turmoil and, you know, taking on these horrible things for himself because of his past and what he thinks of himself. But this thing for Sam was like the epitome of all the previous seasons to this point, where he's like, I'm unclean, I have demon blood in me, and I've done all this horrible stuff. I gotta do this because this pain, this, you know, this weight upon my shoulders is what's going to cleanse me.
And there was
which, like, is kind of...
There was a fight, like, an argument between Sam and Dean at one point. I think it was about... I don't know, it was about something, and Benny was brought up, and he's like, you think I screw up everything that I try? He's like, what are you gonna do next time? Are you gonna choose another vampire over me? And it was just like, and it's that whole scene where it's like, and Dean's like, there's nothing past or present that I would put in front of you. And it's just their whole thing. And it's like, Sam has this perception of himself as like, you know, unclean and burdened, and like, after Dean like comes to terms with it, he's, you know, Dean still sees Sam as he's like, oh, he's my pain in the ass little brother. And it's just so hard when they like start clashing on that. And it's just such a painful experience.
It really hits because, well, one thing that really kind of thrived, you know, outside of the show is the, you know, mental health awareness. And Jared and Jensen, the whole cast and crew, were really, like, really supportive of the whole, you know, you need to take care of your mind. I obviously wasn't in the fandom when the whole, you know, campaign stuff. Jared started a campaign, you know, promoting mental health, and there was a slogan, and I can't remember it, and I kind of feel bad about it. But you know what I'm talking about?
I was gonna say it's the You Are Not Alone campaign, but that's Jensen and Misha's thing.
But Jared was a big purveyor of his own little thing, because he was going through a whole bunch of stuff on his end, depression,
right.
And
I remember him addressing it at a convention once, that he was like going through a lot with
exactly
with his anxiety and stuff. It might be the You Are Not Alone campaign, but I think that was Jensen and Misha's thing, like, exclusively. I don't know, I don't remember it.
Google time. Okay.
Oh, so while you're Googling,
good. Always keep fighting.
That's what it is.
That's what it's called. Always keep fighting.
My supervisor was out doing whatever yesterday, and she was at a bookstore, and she sent me a picture of some things I still can't tell you, and went, is this your guy? Because I talk about Misha constantly. She went, is this him? And I went, yeah, I have a copy of that book like laying on my printer right now. She was like, of course you do. I was like, I just love Misha. Leave me alone. Sue me. Anyway, I would like to go back to talking about Sam and Rowena's relationship, and like their like her taking him under her wing and stuff, because like she like teaches him, you know, all this stuff with magic, and she's just like so proud of him. Like you can just like she says it, and you can just like tell that she's just so proud of him. And like even in season 15 when he has to kill her, and Like, he has to kill her, and there's that whole just, like, heartbreaking sequence of scenes in the, whatever it is, like, the crypt that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, she ends up, like, having to make him, like, stab her, and she's, like, she looks into his eyes, and she's like, that's my boy. And I'm like, oh, she's so proud of him. And it's so sad because Sam has, like, lost every, like, maternal figure he's ever had. Like, you know, Mary, Rowena, Jody, whatever. I mean, obviously Jody didn't die, but it was, like, there was a point where, like, she stopped, being so, like, frequently present. But, like, Rowena was, like, his person. Like, she was, like, basically his mom. And it was just so sweet.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And,
him trying to, like, keep up with magic after she died as well. Because he was like, okay, he was like, Rowena taught me all this stuff. And I know how to use it so I can keep, like, going and make her proud and stuff like that.
You know what kind of surprises me? Crowley and Sam never really had a thing.
What kind of thing?
Like, I don't think they were really as close as everyone else, on Team Free Will, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Cas had their thing, and we already discussed, Dean had his thing with Crowley, but I don't know, I never really got the impression that Sam, in any way, shape, or form, liked or even appreciated or, like, even used Crowley for anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were kind of like step siblings.
Yeah, they kind of hated each other, but, you know, they were brought together by fate in a married couple, so,
They were like step siblings. They didn't like each other, but they were, like, constantly thrown together. Like, whether it was because something that Rowena did or something that Dean and Cas did, it was just, like, he was always there. But, like, you know, even at some point, like, Dean and Crowley became, like, sort of friends, like, before the events of, like, Demon Dean. Like, they were kind of, like, buddies and, like, did stuff together, and, like, Crowley would help out on cases and stuff. Or, like, Dean would, like, recruit him to, like, help him do, like, a personal thing. Like, some personal mission or whatever. But, like, Sam never had that, like, interaction. It was never like, hey, we need help. Let's call Crowley and see what he knows.
Yeah. Dean, well, here's the thing. Sam's a lot more trusting of, you know, he always fought with the whole, you know, maybe they're not all bad thing. And he's a lot more trusting of, like, the casual, you know, monsters who would end up going to purgatory.
Right.
Those kind of ones. But for the higher supernatural beings, Dean, like demons, Dean was always a lot more trusting with them, I think.
Yeah. And I think that a lot as well comes from, like, trauma relating to Ruby. Because, like, he trusted her and, like, really easily trusted her. And then it was, like, the whole addicted to demon blood thing. And then Crowley comes along and he's like, I can help, I can be helpful. I'm not gonna double cross you, whatever. And Sam was like, I don't think so. Sam very much approached the whole situation with caution. I mean, obviously Dean did too, but not in the same, like, sense.
Another thing is that this is sort of still off topic, but, Sam also didn't have a strong relationship with the angels as well.
That's true.
Like, the angel stuff was always focused on Dean, more so than Sam.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cas didn't raise him from perdition, but he did. Not in the same sense. But, yeah, it was... I don't know. It was a lot of, the only angel he really bonds with besides Cas is Gabriel. Like,
Yeah.
even if he's the only angel he has more than one conversation with.
Well, because here's the thing. Gabriel targeted him when he was the trickster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they met. But then, they got into each other's heads.
And then there was... This man has so much, like, celestial being-related trauma. like Ruby traumatized him. Lucifer traumatized him.
Azazel
traumatized him. Like, Dean's first run-in with an angel was literally getting saved. And then Sam's first run-in with an angel was, hey, you're supposed... I'm going to wear you to the prom. You're going to help me end the world. So, it was
that his first interaction with an angel?
Not,
I thought it was Cas.
It is, but, like, his first, like, personal encounter. Like, that was just about him.
Yeah, because when he met Cas, it was like, the boy with the demon blood.
Yeah, when he first met Cas, it was like, oh, you're the angel that saved my brother. But when he met Lucifer, it was, oh, no.
It was focused on him.
Right. And...
Gosh, one of the reasons why I think talking about Sam is so hard is because we haven't fixated on him. I'm Dean, you're Cas, and...
I fixated on him for a while, but not in the same sense
You
as
fixated
Cas.
on him till season 4.
That's 3 whole seasons.
That's 3 whole very inconsequential seasons for, compared to the rest of them.
That's true. Do we know any Sam stans? I don't know any stans.
No? But, my SO doesn't like soulless Sam.
Yeah, that's a hate crime.
I know!
That's just mean.
It was... we bashed on him for, 2 hours.
Soulless Sam is the best Sam, and I will die on that hill. He was so fucking funny.
Oh, he was hilarious. If not, morally corrupt in certain... Well, he wasn't moral at all. He was completely amoral. He was just following, and doing whatever he wanted.
Yeah. Banging patchouli. The epitome of Soulless Sam was clap your hands if you believe. But,
Yes, we're gonna do an episode on that.
If we
have it almost written up.
Oh, good. If we can scrape together enough content. But, I don't know. Talking about Sam is really hard and it's also, he's a main character, but as the show goes on, he becomes less and less of a main character.
Yeah. I mean, he still gets a whole bunch of screen time, but he was more like a tool used to progress the plot than, a central focus of the plot.
Right, the show really became about, Dean and Cas as time goes on.
Yeah.
And Sam is kind of just there.
We went from Dean with the Mark of Cain to Demon Dean to Dean's connection with Amara to what was it? What was after Amara? Yeah, Dean's relationship with their mom and Jack. Sam kind of became more of a conflict piece than a supporting role.
Right, he was just, after a certain point, Sam was just kind of there all the time.
Ready to spew information.
Right. And it was, he was there, and, it would, obviously, it would just be part of the plot, it wouldn't really matter if he was there or not. Like, after a certain point, especially when, like, Jack came along, and then, like, they put so much special emphasis on how much Dean didn't like Jack and how much he, like, grieved Cas. Like, that was a big thing in season 13, and, like, season 13 onward was really when Sam became, like, inconsequential. And I'm sorry if that ruffles feathers of Sam stans, but it's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to keep him more relevant with the whole prophecy that he was going to kill Rowena. He was the one that was always there to take care of Dean, had anything happen to him, but nothing really happened to Sam.
Yeah,
I mean,
feel like
Dean is the one that, you know, all the hunters know about, you know, and Dean's the one that has all the supernatural connections, and Dean's the one who knows everything about the world that Sam doesn't, you know, tread lightly upon. And I mean, when you think about it, I kind of feel bad, but, you know, it's just how it happened, I guess.
It's like I think you said it in the first episode, like, everybody knows about Sam because he's Dean's little brother. Like,
yeah.
I think it's kind of unfair that Sam didn't get as much, like, solo plot lines as Dean did. Mm-hmm. And even Cas got more solo plot lines than Sam did. Like, Cas has Godsteel, Leviathan Cas, Cassifer, you know, there's Enverse Cas, whatever. And, like, Sam, yeah, sure, he has Lucifer, like, himself as Lucifer. Sam. He's got himself as Lucifer in Enverse. In the Enverse, there's him as Lucifer. In this reality, there's I feel like this is going to sound so mean. His main plot point is dying. That's how he drives the plot forward. Season 2 drives the plot forward, leads Dean to make a deal to bring him back, and that leads us to meeting Cas. He dies when we first meet Billy. The first time we meet Billy is because Sam is dead, and so Dean kills himself to make a deal with a Reaper to bring Sam back. And then he dies in the apocalypse world to get to Mary and Jack. Like, his thing is dying. That's like his that is how he helps the plot, which is so unfair to him.
Yeah. I love how we went from Sam's powers to the sad truth of Sam.
Sam's powers didn't have enough content. This is just our episode about Sam. Because there's not a lot of Sam content to go off of. Like, every iteration of Castiel could be its own episode. And, like,
he had his trials. That was a whole plot point with him,
which will get its own episode because that's a lot of content. Yeah, that could be its own episode. But even that was him dying to drive the plot forward. That was him dying to drive the plot forward.
It was, yeah. His whole thing is to motivate Dean.
Yeah.
To reel in Dean, to help Dean. It's
to drive Dean forward.
His whole character is to drive Dean forward, and which is kind of unfair to his character, but you know, we can't really change it at this point. We're just, you know, analyzing it.
And I think that's I think I can get behind Jared being upset about the prequel now as well, of the, like, Supernatural, he didn't get a lot of plot point. And now there's going to be a whole other show that's just, you know, got nothing to do with Sam. Which, obviously, how would you incorporate Sam into the prequel when, Sam was around for 6 months before Mary died. Not to say that I am agreeing with Jared, because I don't like him, but he's not entirely, like, the level of, him being upset was not unfounded.
Yeah, and him not being told, right off. About it. Which, I mean, like I said, I think I said this earlier, whether it be this episode or a previous episode, that, mistakes were made on both sides. Jensen should have been a bit more open with him about him, planning this prequel, but...
Right. But even that, like, Kripke was like, hey, don't tell anybody, and then even, like, Superstition was like, don't tell anybody about this until it's, like, actually a thing. And then, and then a different, like, a news place, like, it was some, like, social media, like, article. It wasn't BuzzFeed, but it was something like BuzzFeed that, like, leaked the prequel. So Jensen was on set for The Boys and didn't have his phone, and, the prequel got leaked, and then Jensen pretty much had to do damage control.
Yeah, and it took it hurt their relationship a lot.
Yeah, which wasn't fair to either of them, but, that's just how it worked out.
Just how it goes. Life is life, and...
Yeah, things
hopefully
happen.
They'll be able to figure it out, because I really love their relationship, pre-damage control.
Prequel gate.
Exactly. But, his character was really one note.
Yeah, I think Sam deserved a better character, and I mean, I think that's also why the finale ruffled so many feathers, aside from it being just horrible in the end of itself. That, like, the whole show wasn't about Sam. And then the finale was, like, all about Sam. Which I guess could be the, Dean got the whole show. It makes sense that the finale wasn't all about him. But, like, not even 2 episodes ago, Dean had Cas sacrifice himself and as a final, like, love confession, and, Sam was just, with Jack and wasn't even a part of that, and Dean never, to our knowledge, never told Sam that what Cas told him. And so it's just like, Sam gets the whole finale, and Dean doesn't even get to really deal with, what he had been told before he dies.
Yeah, we never really get to see that. And the whole problem with the finale for me is, for Sam's side of the finale, is that, one, he loses Dean, and then goes straight back to that, cookie cutter, apple pie life that he's had in, like, small chunks throughout the rest of the series. He goes, it just, I don't know, it just seemed like it was,
like, he moved on very quickly.
I guess very quickly, you could say that, because they just kind of jumped straight to it. But, yeah, I don't know, it just, I was disappointed with it. He had Jess, and then, his whole thing was failed love. That was his whole, like, everyone he slept with died.
Right.
But, in the very end, he slept with someone, had a kid with them, and they didn't die. And that was, like, the whole turnover. And it just didn't feel very fulfilling. Because he didn't have a lot of stuff to fulfill. Because Dean wasn't there.
Like, the thing with Dean was, like, there was always some big bad for him to fight. And, he died and there was nothing left for him to, like, fight. And that's why he didn't come back. But, like, with Sam, there was, you know, what was the point of him coming back every time he died in the first place? To drive the plot forward. Yeah. Sam was a plot device.
Feels like a whole bunch of hate on this episode.
Yeah.
But,
like, I apologize to ruffle, you know, Sam Stan's feathers, and I agree that Sam deserved better, but I don't think the better that he deserved was the finale. Oh, wait. Alright, well, I have been Cas.
And I have been Arya, and on that sad note, thank you for listening to this podcast. If you even got this far, it wasn't, you know, the happiest, brightest thing. Kind of had some deep, dark revelations there. But next week, hopefully, we'll be a bit happier. We're talking about Cas and Crowley. So that's a real fun relationship. But yeah, tune in next Friday and to see that come out. We'll be premiering it on YouTube, and it'll come out on Spotify. Make sure to check us out on social medias, Instagram and Twitter at Wayward Sisters Pod, where we'll keep you updated on behind the scenes, and we can, you know, communicate, you know, talk about supernatural and, you know, get to know each other, build a community. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will